button and then say, yo, what up? How's it going?
How are you? Good. How are you?
I'm swell. I'm absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Uh,
Stain 1 or 2? Question mark.
yes.
Hit me with a pitch. What's going on with this evil Stain list?
I have 4 Dropkick Slicer burning a hole in my binder,
Uh-huh.
and I want to play the evil weapon package. I want to play Stain. I want to stain them out.
Yeah.
I am going to embrace the 1 check, embrace the 2 check, let variants take me.
Yes. Yes. I'm in.
And so I tried to do as much of my homework beforehand, so the deck is cut down to a very trim 51 card core.
Mm-hmm.
I put a bunch of options in the sideboard, and the very first question I wanted to tackle was Stain 1 or Stain 2? And my logic was that Stain 1 doesn't really do a ton on offense. It's +1 speed, +1 quotation marks damage. But he actually has the health to take a hit if you mess up your check, and the response is a pretty good defensive and offensive tool, right? Mess up a block, mess up their string of attacks or foundations or whatever, as long as you can turn it on. Stain 2 has, I don't know, I think the form is slightly better, like offensively, but the freezing, the commit and freeze a foundation is like barely defensive at all. It's very hard to get a ton of value out of it, in my opinion. But he's also a 7-hander, so you just got more cards to work with. But then you think of a 7-hander misses a check, they're just sitting there with 20 health ready to get exploded immediately.
Yeah.
So I'm like 80% Stain 1, and I just wanted someone else to say, yeah, probably right. Or sell me on 2.
It's interesting. I've had both these characters find success on my stream. Normally when they were played against me, Sag. And it really does feel like are you do you want to play a 6er or you want to play a 7-hander? That is 100% what it comes down to. You want to play a 6-hander? You want to play a 7-hander? 7-hander has a better chance to find Dropkick Slicer. The 6-hander gets punished slightly less for checking it. There's no chance that I let you lead this deck, Doctor, with Sinister Pillization in your deck. Sorry, it's not happening. But Slice with the 4 of is so sick. And being able to do cool Stain 2 like having your Slicer be a 7-high for 5 plus like floating plus like whatever is like so cool. So cool. It's super cool. At the same time, having Slicer and looking at them and being like, yo, this is a 5-high for 6 that like if things mess up, you're gonna get punished is also very cool. I mean, it really is. I think both of them are good. I really like Stain 2. If you're more aggressive, if you want to play a little bit more of a control game, then Stain 1 is the option.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Chainsaw Nomu.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you stand on that card? Because I'm thinking that Chainsaw Nomu would move to the main deck if I went to Stain 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because the form really loves the flash.
Yeah.
And then just getting them with it.
I want to put this card in your main board for either Stain. I think this card is incredible. I think having less foundations in your opponent, this being a 4-diff, 4-mid for 5 that they don't get to play enhances on, is wonderful. It tactically works with Blood Moon rendering incredibly well. like you hit them, destroy one of your lame committed foundations. Like imagine double Chainsaw Nomu into Blood Moon Rending and they don't have the mid, right? Like they're holding 2 highs and a low because like that's what their hand was given, right? You just go Chainsaw, Blood Moon. You hit them with all of it. You just get them with all of it. Yes, you don't get the enhance to literally burn them for 1, but like if this card, it's +1 damage. We don't care about +1 damage. Not with like the amount of, not with the ability of like I play Chainsaw Nomu. Their goal was to do some enhance finagling, like Momo. I'll pick up the mid block and do the thing, and you're just like, nope, I'm slamming Chainsaw Nomu. Oh, I hit you for 5. I hit you for 3. Okay, my character's online. I'm in. Right, I gotcha.
I said at the start, embrace variance. We're gonna go with the 7-hander.
Love it.
Play more cards, check more cards, win. What's a 1 check? I don't know.
What is a 1 check? We only draw them. 1 checks, we draw those. Okay, Paralyzation has to leave. This card is not a good enough card. After rival checks a printed 5 or higher to block this attack, they recheck. If this combo enhance worked in the way that they kept checking until they checked to 3, it would be worth it. Or until they checked a non 5 or higher, it'd be worth it. But it's just
I'm not married to it. It was in my binder. It's cute.
It's a coaster. It is. That's what that card is. We get to play 2 of this card now. What does this number look like?
I don't want it to be over 60. The trimmer, the more often I see my drop kicks, and I want to throw drop kicks.
Fair enough. I don't know why it's not letting us set this as the main character. Weird. Okay. This number is going to lie to you. It is actually 51. I'm gonna. It's gonna bug me that it's not doing the thing. Okay, I'll get over it, I guess. 4 dropkick makes sense. Laceration makes slightly less sense now, just because like we're not playing Stain 1 and we don't need this poke. I'm a huge fan of Knife Slice in Stain 2. I think, Alo for 5 that burns them for 1, you gain 1 is incredible on a 1 mid block. Like it's like borderline not fair.
Laceration is definitely a remnant of trying to turn on the Stain commit. I think the Stain 1 commit.
Piercing Needle is incredible. Because it is +2 damage on a later move, and it even works on your flash moves.
Now that we're doing Stain 2 combo, I wanted to point out. You pointed out something similar before. Needle stab into slashing whirlwind.
Yeah.
It's a 1-2 punch.
Beautiful. Let's just toss them into the main board so that we get to look at block zones as we do stuff. I mean, the obvious answer is just like it becomes the laceration spot, right? Like we could put laceration down to a 1 of, needle stab up to the 3 of, and then we have to figure out what to do with slashing.
You could leave it as a 1 of, just like because it's only super great with the needle stab.
We're getting rid of laceration. Well, this card also says that, like, discard 1 of my 7 cards. So this card gets to be a 8 high for 9 in our deck. That gets to redraw this card back. Or redraw one of the 2 cards we discarded. So I form with Stain, play Needle Stab. It's an 8 high for 4. I just discard 2 cards I don't care about. This deck gets 5 speed. So it's 8 for 9. And then whatever happens, it leaves. I then redraw with Stain, and so like I get to try again. I could have discarded another card to say that my next attack also gets the 3 speed.
Because my other thought, right, is you play it, you give it with the form, so you're like an 8 high for 4. They're not going to try and block that, right? And then you get them with the whirlwind with the +3 speed at like a 7 high 14 or something.
Yeah.
Or what is it, a mid? It's probably a mid. It's
mid,
8 mid 14.
Also a totally valid play. Yeah,
That was my thought with the whirlwind.
I think that is an amazing tactic, but I think needle stab in this deck as a standalone technique is good, which is why I don't think like it needs to be a one of. If we're trying to cut space and truthfully low blocks, because like our lows are a little high on our attacks, we could easily just drop it down to a 2 of, and then figure out what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Because like 4 drop kick and 3 blood moon, 3 needle stab. My personal opinion is I think that we should take blood moon and drop it down to a 2 of, because that's the obvious kill card. And if we're trying to make slashing whirlwind a thing that happens, we easily. I mean, it is like we put it up to a 2, and then we could do like another knife slice or another chainsaw, because they're also. What's our high blocks here? None, literally none. We've just got none of those. We could do block zone, ignited arrow, or piercing needle are our good high blocks on attacks. Rough. I hate this card. I think this card's bad.
Yeah, I only threw it in there because like, it is a evil weapon, and there aren't a million of them.
Certainly is an evil weapon.
I mean, piercing needle's also a high block.
Yeah. Man. Question is where do we put it? I think at a 2 of is fine, right? This card also has EX3, and so like once they get down to 5 health, you just get to kill them. Once they get down to 3 health, you get to mega kill them. It has a deadlock threat on it. The worst part about this card is it feels bad to form, because we want it to go to our momentum. Man. How much do you like Blood Moon Rending?
I like it a bit. I like it a fair bit.
So if we wanted to, right, we'd be hella aggressive. We could cut. So here's where it is. One of these 2 ofs needs to go down to a 1 of. I don't think it's allowed to be piercing needle, strictly because it's the high block. I think it has to be one of these 3. I'm lobbying for Blood Moon Rending, strictly because I have not found a ton of I've not found a ton of love for this card. It is just a 7 damage move that hits. That's just what this card does. 6 high for 7 with a deadlock ability. This card does say discard a card, but like so does Chainsaw Nomu. This card has always felt lackluster in my opinion. But there's some times where I get Blood Moon Rending and I died. So like I don't
Yeah.
Like it's fine. It's fine.
Let's put it to a 1. If I hate it, I can move it back someday.
Love it. Love to hear it. The actual thing is like so let's pretend that you do hate it. You take Slicer and you put it to the 3 of, and you put this back up to the 2 of, and I think that you'll feel good. But we walked in with wanting to play 4 Slicer. We should leave this room playing 4 Slicer.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 Slicer in this deck might be a little overkill, but it might not be. I'm not 100% positive.
Yeah, it was my one non-negotiable. I'll eventually check it enough times, and I'm like, we'll bring one out.
I love that. Okay, so the next thing we get to do is we get to take out all of the cards that don't say 0, and we're gonna put in every 0 diff in the game. Yay!
I think the only one we're missing is Vantage, because I put the other 5 in.
We got Desperate Times as well.
Oh, Desperate Times.
Yeah. You have to build cards. If you don't build cards, you don't get to play the game. Let's look at.
There is a certain, like, diminishing return to that though, because it's just like checking the one. It means after the first two on turn one, like I can't guarantee it anyway.
Sure,
So there is
sure.
a certain number of zeros that does have diminishing returns, and I thought 20 was about the amount here. If we're going to raise the deck to 60, then I could see adding another up to 4 set. But I don't think we need the full 28 zeros.
So
That seems like overkill.
let's do okay. So here's my opinion. I don't think you need Excited for Blood. I don't think you need Force Quirk activation. I don't think you need House of Cards. And those just get to be zeros to try and just find them more, right? Because so there is that the diminishing returns, which I love that you said. It does curve back up when I try to build my sixth card on my sixth card as a zero, check a 5 and pass it on turn 1. How insane is Stain 2 with all of this gas when I build 6 going first and I look at my opponent and say your turn? Insane. And so it's just the more zeros you have, yes, I get to safety build my 2, but then if I don't check the 1, I continue on and find it at the tail end. The value of these zeros spike right back up.
I will hedge with you and go to 24.
Love it. The answer is just Desperate Times because that card commits cards. I'm in. Okay, so from here, we have to get rid of Excited for Blood. It's a 3. We can't afford it.
All right.
Checking a 1 on this doesn't work, and our character already draws. If we were playing the 6-hander, we can maybe lobby for it. I don't think that it just gets to exist. How do you feel about Citywide Crisis?
Back when we had like Laceration and stuff, it was nice to just have yet another weapon in the pool. Playable well. I mean, I think you've said that like it's just a really great one of in basically any deck that can support it. If you think it's got to go, it can go. Here's
my thing about it. So it's a 4 check. It is amazing speed hate. I kind of want to just put it in the sideboard and take, because like I'm trying to play a 5 diff, sometimes a 5 diff, sometimes a 5 diff, sometimes a 5 diff. This card is a 5 diff because I want to play it as my 3rd card, honestly, right? Form with Stain, play an attack. It clears, play an attack, then play Brandish because it's a 7 damage move. I want to play it as late as possible so they think I'm out of gas. This card is a 6 diff whenever it matters. So checking a 4 sucks, which is why I want to get rid of both of these 4s if at all possible.
Cut them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Force Quirk was just, I have one. I'm not married to it.
Brute Strength, 4 of.
Yeah, now that we're cutting those other 2s and we're on the 7, like, I'm definitely here for that because we need the damage.
So the other option that we can do, right, and you didn't have this in your list, but I really enjoy this in my Cheerios deck. The only 2 ofs that I played, I have an all-for-1 deck that is very, very similar to what this guy's wanting to do. Is I played 3 copies of Bench Press so that whenever I found a Brute Strength, I paid 1 health and then Bench Press was just live. And so like all my moves just got 7 damage or for free. I was just like, well, we're working out. These dropkick slicers, not 5 damage, they're 8 damage. Sorry, man. 8 damage dropkick slicer that got +3 speed and burned you for 2 and picked up a knife slice that leaves. Okay, knife slice 5 for 8 that burns you for 1. I heal 1 so that I can brute strength again. I built out my 6 foundations and I've started checking. I checked a single 3. I've committed 2. Well, I'll brute strength destroy this thing and then it gets even more damage later on. I loved bench press in my deck. Also, accidentally a 3 of. Also, accidentally gains you health. I like this card a lot. Does it need to be in this deck? Probably not, especially because we don't lose health on any of these. It literally is just a tactic with brute strength. It's also another 2, so like maybe we don't necessarily need it. I just know that this is what I did with my 0 check or 0 diff evil deck.
We can definitely keep it in mind because we're gonna have to be very selective about the twos in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
And there is other good stuff like dissolving the conflict sitting in that sideboard, and when you're staying two and you're paying life to get yourself there,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound awful as an option.
This card also does say flip for -2 damage as long as you're alive, right? Like you partial block a thing, take 3, gain 2. You took 1 off of a partial. Like that doesn't feel bad. As like a defensive option. So just like
just to be clear, that doesn't save you from lethal, right?
it does not.
You will
No.
die. Yes, I didn't think so.
You gotta have at least a little health. Yeah. House of Cards. If your name's not Shigaraki 3, I think House of Cards is a trap. I think this card is not very good.
Fair.
Yeah. I would 100% rather this be like a third press conference just to keep stringing moves, right? Just like pretty much 100% of the time.
Also, Intimidating Presence, definitely a relic of when I was playing more Laceration and Blood Moon Rending.
Mm-hmm.
It could easily be something else that's a 1/5.
Yeah, let's take a look. I mean, Shock Absorption is just like a good enough card to just like sling it. Destroy playable while committed -2 speed, so you can get like 1 block in and just like feel good about it. That is not a bad card. I think the stocks in this card go up way higher. As like stun is very good, you know.
Yeah, I did have Shock in some versions of this before I came on here, and I'd be more than glad to put it back.
Let's do it. And it does like a very similar idea of what Intimidating Presence has got going on, because like while this is in your card pool, your deck gets -1 speed. This just says like -2 this one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 54. These are not bad numbers for an evil deck, especially an evil deck that's just trying to kill him. If you feel like you are still checking a little rough, I think the first thing that you do is, let's go back to difficulty, is I want you to just take 2 Rooftop Vantage and just slam them in. Because it's a 0/5. We don't care about the effect. It's just going to get blown up with Brute Strength anyways. And it's like I want to pass this card, and like increase my 5 check just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about a 1 of Mastermind's Apprentice?
I have a massive hard on for this card, so like you don't gotta sell me. I love this card. I think this card is so sick. Oh, I have bench press in here. I don't want of. So we will take that back out. 54. These are totally chill numbers.
They're gonna get drop kicked and they're gonna get sliced.
Are you good at winning dice rolls?
I'm about 50-50, you know.
About 50-50. All right, then you're gonna win 50% of your games, and it's gonna be tight.
I'm here for it.
This is such a dice rolly deck. I love it. I love it.
I love it too. All
any final questions?
If you weren't worried about the 1 check, would any of these actions interest you?
Showdown's nuts. League of Villains is insane. I'm not a hold hostage evil versus good guy. Blood Curdle's fine. $35 beats Evil Gaze. Probably just like a singleton Showdown and a 1 of League of Villains. I think that these 2 cards are incredible. This card gets sided out, and you just put a second League of Villains in. This card, I think, is going to. This card should be seeing way more play than it is currently. And I think that there are big enough enhances that matter, that are like big turn enhances that matter, that League of Villains is like just good enough to do. Imagine canceling your Slashing Whirlwind or your Needle Stab or your Dropkick Slicer, like your Blood Moon Rending to clear the last card out of my hand so I get to block you and not take my full 7 damage. Like, I think League of Villains is incredible. The only issue is these symbols, unless you're something like Moneta, unless you're something like Eraserhead, they don't want to play a defensive game. They want to play like a more aggro game. The evil symbol, I don't think gets to play a control game. I just, unless maybe you're Hatsume. League of Villains Hatsume seems insane. Seems very, very good. You just gotta like get there though. How do you get there? I don't know.
Truth.
How do you not die? Yeah.
The Hatsume puzzle.
Yeah. All right. Well, this deck is very, very cool. Stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you the list, and you have a good rest of your night, okay?
All right. Thanks.
Enjoy drop kicking people.
Will do.
Yeah. All right. We'll see ya.